most of us would put some ground meat, maybe some fajita meat, but there's always an option of using ground turkey rather than ground beef. Turkey poultry is generally going to have a good bit less fat and saturated fat. Remember, it's not animal fats, but saturated fat. Poultry is going to be less than beef almost all the time. So, with ground turkey, you've got some options here. They have 99% lean versus 93% lean. Of course, the higher percentage of lean, that's the first number there, is going to be better. But of course, remember, taste is important and you want a little bit of moisture. So the 93% lean may be just fine. Let's check out the difference between the two. Again, let's look at the serving size, 4 ounces. You've got a difference of the leaner has 120 calories. The 93% fat has 170. The difference in fat is 8 grams for that 4 ounce serving versus 1.5 grams of total fat. And remember, that's mostly saturated fat, so or not necessarily mostly saturated fat, but a good bit of saturated fat in your meat. So that's a big difference in the total fat there, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when you're talking about fresh meat, you usually don't have much sodium if it's fresh meat, but many times they do add a little bit of saline solution, so it doesn't hurt to look at the sodium there. 70 and 80 milligrams is not what we consider to be high sodium for a 4 ounce serving of meat, but just remember that it is there, okay? Do you have any thoughts about
and
that?
you want to be careful, that since we're right here, that some of your meats in your meat sections will say seasoned meat already, and so that will immediately up your sodium content. And like I said, turkey is a great low-fat option. There is always ground chicken, or you can simply do the lean ground beef, but like Pam showed you, just a little bit of a difference in your percentage makes that fat gram so much. The difference is in the fat grams. So you want to be careful with that. One suggestion would be, if you really want to stick with the ground turkey, just look for the best tasting that you find. You can always, when you're adding cooking it in your skillet, you can always add some avocado oil or some olive oil to that to help it add a little bit of moisture behind that. So here's your options.
Kira, I'm looking for their organic, and I think most stores will have an organic meat option. It's not a bad idea. What we know about organic meat items is that is going to mean that the animal was allowed to roam and graze, and that's generally a good thing, because that means, just like you and me, when we're moving, our fat composition is healthier. The healthier fats are there. So same for the animal. If they're moving and they're not stocked, and that's what organic means, it's not stocked, or you may say raised. Trying to think of the verbiage. I'll think of it in a minute. Farm raised. Farm raised may or may not mean that, but organic definitely does. But what we see in our organic meat, our animal products, even dairy, organic, you're going to get a little bit of omega-3 fatty acids, okay? Just because that animal has been allowed to move.